So much, Mike. And welcome again, everyone, to the Financing Opportunities webinar hosted by the Illinois Shines Program Administrator. We're really excited for this webinar, which was conceived to respond to market interest in financing opportunities available outside of the Illinois Shines program. And we're excited to host 4 presentations today from some of our partner organizations. Next slide, please. So before we get started, I want to note that in considering privacy, intellectual property, and accuracy concerns, um, and to encourage active and candid participation, the Illinois Power Agency has determined that the use of artificial intelligence note-taking tools will not be permitted in this meeting. The agency and its program administrator will remove AI note takers from the meeting. I'd also like to note that this webinar is being recorded and will be published with the slide deck on the program year webinars page. There will be a Q&A session following the presentations today, and these questions and answers will also be published as a resource available for reference on that page as well. Next slide, please. So here's the agenda for today. Our presenters include the Hispanic American Construction Industry Association, or HACIA, the National Laboratory of the Rockies, Ameren, and the Clean Energy Jobs and Justice Fund, or CEJJF. As mentioned, following the presentations, we'll then have a Q&A session in which you can submit questions for our presenters to answer. You are encouraged to submit questions throughout the presentations, but we will address those during the Q&A session. And the presenters may be able to answer the questions in the Q&A feature over the chat, but we'll read those out loud during the Q&A session. And with that, please do use the Q&A feature to submit those questions throughout the webinar. And if you have questions for a specific presenter, please note that in your question so we could identify who to answer that. And next slide. Okay, and so with that, I'd like to hand it over to HACIA to get us started with the very first presentation. Next slide, please. Oh, and Alec, you're on mute.
There we go. We're all getting used to it still somehow, 6 years after all living in virtual land. But anyway, it was just thanking you, Connor, and thanking Mike for organizing this event. I'm excited to be here to talk about our Clean Energy Contractor Incubator Program, part of the Climate and Equitable, the CEJA Act, and yeah, figure out how we can support more small businesses that are trying to emerge into the clean energy sector and everything. So I'll just get right into it and stop yapping away here. So if you are ready, I am. You can go to the next slide. Thank you. Right. So again, myself, my name is Alec Janzimis. I'm with HACIA. I am the CEJA program lead here. I came on board last year to get this program up and running. HACIA is a membership-based organization that has a lot of programming opportunities for small and emerging businesses across the construction industry and across multiple sectors. We have over 300 members throughout the Chicagoland area, and membership, has a lot of benefits to it, including a lot of events, technical assistance, and others. And if anybody is interested in possibly becoming a member of HACIA, let me know, and I'll put you in touch with our membership and business management office. But just introducing the incubator team here who have helped me get this program off the ground and be successful in its first year. We have Marisa Belpozo, who manages all of our business capacity programs. So if you are a business owner or are trying to start your own business and need to level up your skills with back office, with entrepreneurial skills, things like that, Marisa Bell's programs are fantastic, have been hugely successful. A lot of them include one-on-one coaching with professional consultants across various sort of specialties within small business management, and is a wonderful, wonderful person who I wish could be here today, but is not. She's been very instrumental in helping me kind of dovetail the workforce and business capacity side of things, which is part of what CEJA's mission is. And then lastly, Olivia Salazar, who has also helped me with so much in getting this program off the ground and is a wonderful resource of research and industry knowledge. And so shout out to them. Thank you very much. I wish they could be here. But next slide, please. Okay, so Climate and Equitable Jobs Act. Many of you, I'm sure, have heard this acronym being tossed around a lot, and I wanted to dive in just a little bit to it. So we're going to go over that first. We're going to go over program eligibility for our specific incubator, cover a little bit of what we were able to accomplish in the first year and what we're planning and looking forward to for year two of the program, and then a little bit more about how to get involved should you be interested. So next slide, please. So the Clean Energy Contractor Incubator Program at HACIA, or we tend to just call it the CEJJF Incubator for uh, not adding another acronym to the world of acronyms. But basically, CEJA, or the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act, who sponsors our program, was signed into law back in September of 2021, with the purpose of kind of spearheading Illinois to the top of the field in terms of clean energy investment. And that can mean a lot of things, but was really to design an ecosystem of training and business support, and as well as project implementation across the state, to really make Illinois a leader of the pack in many ways. It was there's statewide workforce training programs, there's business capacity programs kind of like ours. Some of the goals of the program were to go 100% carbon free by 2045 across the state, and reaching 50% renewable energy by 2040, as well as some other things like electrifying the transportation sector, and then reducing energy use through enhanced efficiency. So modification of buildings already in place to better accept and utilize clean energy services. Next slide, please. So this is, yeah, a little bit of what I just mentioned, some dates and some stats here. Again, huge program, millions of dollars being spent by the state every year, really to kind of accelerate all of this. Not that Illinois was behind the times, but I just heard at the Chicago Clean Energy Workforce Week presentation that I was at a couple of days ago that um, Illinois is, I think, second in the country or third in the country in terms of workforce training programs. Um, and CEJA has become a huge part of that. So we have a lot to be proud of being in Illinois and how much the state is committed to investment into this growing sector that's rapidly, rapidly growing, despite changes that are at the federal level. Next slide, please. So a little bit more about CEJA, about what's coming down the road, some figures here, estimates of the amount of jobs that are in the field already and what some of their projected growth is. You can see here where some of the demand might exist for professional skills and, what employers are looking for. And I can say, that is kind of like a moving target that has been a challenge and also a really great opportunity for our incubator, is understanding where are these skilled laborers, skilled trades, finding placement and where the gaps are and how to create more of a market. And that's really important for us. Next slide, please. Some key outcomes for the CEJA initiative overall, right? So increasing the opportunities for contractors working in clean energy, by also then bringing along with them those who want to emerge into that field or transition their skills. Like if you're an electrical contractor who's always been curious about solar PV or EV charger installation and things like that, right? And then a huge component of this as well is getting community buy-in, right? So how do we get, for example, more solar panels in residential areas and not just on commercial properties? And all of this is tied together, as small businesses get involved. And the idea is that this isn't just a flash in the pan kind of surge in clean energy in the state, but that this is really a lifetime investment that the state is making. Next slide, please. Okay, so back to HACIA, what our incubator is. So under CEJA, there's many different types of programs available for small businesses and folks working in the construction industry to get involved. And I think, one way I've been looking at it is CEJA is really an attempt to bring the whole acronym family and everybody involved in renewable energy kind of under one umbrella to make it more transparent and easy to understand, not just for those in the trades, but for people in the community as well across the state. So we assume the role of shepherding contractors, whether they're an established business or a new one, those who are just getting their feet wet, to emerge into a pretty competitive market as it changes. And those, changes that reflect a lot of the figures I showed you on the last couple of slides, is really a challenge, and something that we've been hopefully very successful at. Now, all of our programming that we offer is also free, thanks to the funding from Illinois DCEO, the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, who administers the CEJA programming. And our main mission is to provide the expertise, training, or resources that small businesses need in the trades to enter this clean energy space or scale their business already within it. Next slide, please. So here you can see some of our key partnerships and collaborators that we've worked with over the past year to provide those services, those training. We've reached deep into our Rolodex of industry professionals and connections to bring small businesses, contractors, participants, etc., a broad spectrum of partners who will use their specific expertise to help those businesses achieve their goals. Here are, this is just some examples of our collaborators who all have some overlap with each other, but also their own significant or specialization in what they can offer a small business. So you can see here we have folks who are experts in bonding and insurance, those who are in marketing, the IPA, Illinois Solar for All, and Illinois Shines, huge partners of ours, the Chicagoland SBDC, Lewis University, FIAS, Passive Home Institute of the US. Like, we are really trying to holistically think about what clean energy means, not just with solar, but with the, much like, a building or a home, it is a collection of systems that all interact with each other. And how can we facilitate as much of that as possible? Next slide, please. So a little bit about eligibility, because this is a state funded and grant funded program. We have an application and intake process because these funds are meant to help those who need it the most. Illinois and HACIA, I think, are in lockstep in that the communities who will benefit the most from rapid clean energy adoption are the ones that need it the most. And we aim to provide those services for businesses in those communities to achieve that. So eligibility to be in our program primarily determined by geography. The CEJA Act, when it was signed in 2021, identified two primary geographic zones in Illinois for these small businesses and contractors to come from. Those two are the R3 and so restore, reinvest, and renew communities, or environmental justice communities, which are ones that are disproportionately affected by environmental conditions such as water pollution, flooding, lack of access to green space, etc. R3 communities are ones who have historically been underrepresented, underserved, underinvested. Fortunately and unfortunately, much of Chicago, which is where our service area is and where we are based, much of the geography in Chicago falls into one of those two geographies. So we've been able to pull a lot of businesses from many different types of communities across Chicago to participate. In addition to these geographies, there's other determinants of eligibility, including people who have been in Clean Job Workforce Network programs, Climate Works pre-apprenticeship programs, returning residents programs, and also those who have gone through the foster care system, folks who have been formerly incarcerated. In addition to being from those two geographic zones, some of those other demographic criteria would make you eligible. And that really, this is a program not so much like a workforce program. This is for, our goal is to help small and mid-sized construction firms who are established, newly established, trying to emerge. CEJA has workforce hubs, some in Chicago, some all across the state that have been up and running actually since the beginning of CEJA, before the incubator system got going. For those who are looking for like their first foray into clean energy installation or the trades. So that's another option. And if you'd like to learn more about that, we can speak about that later. Next slide, please. So here's just a map where we have that helps determine kind of like what these geographic communities look like. So the map on the left is one provided by DCEO. HACIA's service area, where we primarily serve, is the area in orange there, which is kind of the north and south, northwest, west, southwest portions of Cook County. Those shaded areas are census tracts within Cook County and the city of Chicago that count as either or R3 or environmental justice. Map on the right goes into more detail. This is the CEJA map, actually the official one provided by the state. You can see there communities in orange. Those are the R3 communities. Blue, environmental justice, and then that kind of purpley gray color are ones that are both. So we have many businesses from either or both types of communities. Next slide, please. So the program itself, it was structured in our first year with working contractors in mind. So we did our best to keep the schedule that allows like a complete full day of work for our contractors and then being able to attend classes. And we structured everything kind of with the idea of four main components. The first of which we launched last summer, was the virtual workshops, which we offered kind of at a cadence of one or two every single week. These are typically 90 minutes, 2 hours in length. Some are ongoing series, some are standalone, covering a wide spectrum of topics, including how to become a certified contractor, how to become an EEC vendor, with the IPA, topics of how to become procurement ready, even topics like insurance and bonding, what it means to become union signatory, marketing workshops, how to develop a digital strategy. So the idea was that these are in the evening classes that could be really easily accessible with high level instruction from vetted subject matter experts that HACIA has built partnerships with, who can provide years of knowledge very quickly to working contractors who are looking to emerge into this space. Another component of ours was the small business cohorts. So these were 8-week long programs meeting twice a week in the evenings that we did in partnership with a university here in Chicago. That was really like a boot camp in small businesses. So, construction drawing, estimating, bidding, and project management. And, a short amount of time, you're going to come out knowing a lot of those really formal and have a formal education and some really foundational skills of running a small business. The third component was a sustainability track, which we just wrapped up. So again, cohort, long-term, in-person training and certifications in clean energy and green construction, certification experience there. And then a real focus for us has also been the professional coaching and technical assistance. So a lot of those subject matter experts that we've built partnerships with have made themselves available for one-on-one coaching that we offer, again, for free. And some of those topics, again, are ones that are covered in the workshops, and then give contractors the opportunity to work one-on-one with those professionals to accomplish their goals. So if there's, an RFP for a solar project in the western suburbs of Chicago that one of our contractors wants to go for, let us know. We'll put you in touch with one of our SMEs or subject matter experts who's really good at helping create an estimate, a bid, and filing those applications. Or if you're going after a grant from a community bank or a public fund, such as one from Van's CEJJF organization or the Illinois Climate Bank, right? What are the ins and outs and nuances of making those things possible? A lot of contractors really are focused on keeping their business out of the red, right? Their day-to-day operations. Is their van running? Do they have enough guys on their crew to get everything done that they need to in a day? And we really try and provide as many of those services as quickly and clearly as possible so that as much of a contractor's bandwidth as they can afford to give us towards helping their business, we can meet them where they're at that way. Next slide, please. So a little bit about how we did in our first year and where we're going. So in year one, we were able to get around 73. I think now it's a little bit higher, maybe around 80 contractors or participants in general who were accepted into the program from the west, southwest, and northwest sides of Chicago/Cook County. We've offered, those virtual workshops and cohort-based programs, over 30 um, over the course of, let's see, first one was back in August, and we just wrapped them up in March. So, around 7 months of programming available there. And then we were able to bring in at least 15 contractors into that technical assistance and one-on-one kind of component that I was mentioning. And then in terms of certifications, we were able to provide training and certification exams, whether they be proctored or through an official body like the U.S. Green Buildings Association. Probably messing that one up, the acronym again, but for LEED certification, for example. So a lot of tangible benefits, certifications, and skills that contractors have added to their toolbox that they can offer to their customers and to their communities through this program. And then lastly, something I'm really proud of is that we're going to have out of those 73 who were accepted into the program as eligible, 25 of them are going to, I think maybe now it's closer to 30 actually, are going to graduate from the incubator with a certificate from CEJJF / the Illinois DCEO. And that certificate kind of gets them more or less through the door, at least one foot in the door with becoming a registered EEC with the Illinois Power Agency, which then makes them eligible to go for like the amazing opportunities that Illinois Shines and Illinois Solar for All have for them. So next slide, please. We'll talk a little bit about where we're going with year two of this. So we have done a lot of surveying of the contractors and participants who've been in our program about what we could be doing better and other skills or gaps in their skill set where they would love to see some more training. So we've designed a year two curriculum centered around what was successful from year one. So that small business bootcamp cohort is going to stick around. A lot of the same virtual workshops that were really successful. I'm going to keep those, as well as some of those certifications. But we're going to be adding a lot more technical training as well. So if you are a solar contractor and you're trying to grow your business, what's the next step? You know how to put panels on a roof, but do you need to learn operations and management software? Do you need to boost up your back office support and learn how to hire folks, learn how to do more QuickBooks training or utilization, learn how to use more data, things like that. So we are going to have an expanded curriculum with more opportunities for more certifications, more technical programming, and have a very much increased and more integrated technical assistance and one-on-one coaching component added as well. Next slide. Yeah, so a little bit of information to close this out on if you're interested in joining our incubator for year two. So do you need to take all three components? No. The program is designed for you to be able to do it, as much as you possibly can. But you do not, one, have to be a member of HACIA to be in this program. And two, you don't need to take the whole thing. If really what you need is something that's related specifically to one certification, one type of back office skill that you've never had formal training on, and want to work one-on-one with a coach to help you get all of those goals accomplished, that's enough. If you just want to take one workshop, that's enough too. We would love to see you do more, obviously, but it is not a requirement that you sign up for a full calendar year where you have to attend everything. You can do it at your pace. We understand that the industry, it gets really, really busy, especially this time of year and in the summer. And so we, again, design everything to accommodate that. Next slide, please. some of the benefits here of what you can expect should you go through it. So, today's big topic is, funding and financing. And something that we've been really proud of is being able to connect our small businesses and contractors who are in the program with opportunities for access to capital, whether they be through public funding, again, through like the Illinois Climate Bank, or, one of our partners, Wintrust Community Banks, who administers for the state many different types of low cost capital programs through the SBDC, through some of our other SMEs, ways to get funding to help your business that maybe you maybe didn't know about before. More, non-traditional loans, things that are catered towards small businesses, and even ones that are specifically created for businesses that are trying to emerge into clean energy with that in mind. So we've been able to get a few of our contractors quite a bit of money to help them, buy trucks, buy vans, get a physical brick and mortar location to store all of their equipment, et cetera. So been going on for a while now. There's a lot of different things that you can gain and add to your toolbox. Should you be interested, please let me know. We are constantly recruiting for this program. Year two will be beginning in June. Over the next couple of months, April, May, and June, we're going to be recruiting, going to be adding more people in. I have the bandwidth to speak with you if you're interested. We have a lot of opportunities for all kinds of businesses from across the construction industry. You don't have to just be an electrician. You don't have to just be interested in solar or electrification and HVAC. What we have designed our program to do is cover as many different specific trades and specialties across the construction industry, because clean energy and green construction touch on all of them. So if you have any interest in this, if you're a business owner, please get in touch, fill out an application with us. Let's get you in the system and see how we can help, because we have a lot to offer. Next slide, please. So lastly, yeah, if you are interested in participating, here's just a couple things to think about ahead of time. We have goals that we want you to set for yourself, whether they be ones financially, whether they be ones with certifications, whether they be ones with after, go the types of projects that you want to go after. That'll help us clearly design and steer you towards the type of services and training and expertise that we have available to offer. And the more communication that we have, and the more clear of an idea that we have from you that can be communicated, the better this experience will be for everybody. We have a lot to offer. And we're really, really excited that we had as many people in our program this year as we did, and we want to keep going and growing more. And again, the curriculum that we've designed for the second year is to encompass as much of the construction industry as possible. So that's sort of it for me. I think the last slide is next. Again, we'll be doing a Q&A after this, and my contact will be made available. Thank you very, very much, everybody, who organized this event. Thank you all for being here. My contact is here again. Let's work together. Let's make something happen. There's a lot of opportunity. Yeah, don't shy away. We're always here to help, and let us know how we can be supportive. That's the whole thing. So thank you, Connor. Thank you, Mike. Thank you, everybody, again.
Great. Thanks so much, Alec. And I do want to note before we move on that we will be sharing the email addresses for each of today's presenters in a follow-up email. So feel free to, take a screenshot here, but we will be providing email addresses afterwards. And with that, we could go to the next slide. So next presentation is going to be by the National Laboratory of the Rockies. So going to hand it off to Ruby.
Thanks, Connor. Hi, everybody. My name is Ruby Nahan, and as Connor said, I work at the National Laboratory of the Rockies. If that doesn't sound familiar, maybe National Renewable Energy Lab does, which is what we used to be called. So we used to be called NREL, or National Renewable Energy Lab. Now we are National Laboratory of the Rockies, or NRL, which is not as much of a fun acronym, I will say. Thank you, Connor. Thank you, Mike. Thank you to all the attendees. This is so exciting. I have two colleagues, Howard Morano and Sushmita Jena, who are also on this call, and they'll be sort of tending to the Q&A. I want to note, I have a couple of disclaimers as I jump into this. One is I am somewhat visually impaired, so you'll see my eyes jumping to large print to my right so I can stay on track with my notes. So pardon if that makes you motion sick, but that's what I have to do. And secondly, I have a new puppy in my room here who is currently sleeping. So let's hope she stays sleeping. But if you see me suddenly jump from the screen, you will know that she has put herself in some sort of danger. She's confined, but you never know what a puppy will do. I love these presentations. They're wonderful. It always makes me think of it takes a village, you know, and this is definitely a village of support and resources and tools. And I'm going to talk about another. So just to let you know, I have a background in solar sales. I did commercial and industrial sales for many years. So I responded to a lot of RFPs. I did a lot of sales work, and I worked largely with non-tax customers. So municipalities, school districts, churches, nonprofits of all kinds. And I know from my own experience, and we know from our experience at the lab, that access to capital is a persistent and thorny issue for a lot of solar development. So I was thrilled to come and work at the lab and work on the Community Power Accelerator project, which was a tool and a set of resources, is a tool and set of resources specifically designed to sort of crack that nut of difficulty accessing capital. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the Community Power Accelerator, and then I'm going to do a bait and switch on you, which I'll get to in a second. So the Community Power Accelerator is a software platform. It's a cloud-based software platform. And think of it as kind of like, we like to joke that it's kind of like a dating app or kind of like a LinkedIn. And it is for solar projects and capital to find each other, to meet and connect. That's the sole purpose of that software. Now, it also comes with wraparound services that can help developers get to the point of understanding how to pitch to capital, or services that help capital get more comfortable with smaller solar projects. So that's really what it is. It is funded by the U.S. Department of Energy. The National Laboratory of the Rockies built it, basically, the platform. And then we have a really important partnership with our friends out at the Berkeley Lab, which is another DOE national lab. They provide technical assistance and some other services. Next slide, please, because now I'm going to do the bait and switch on you. Okay, so like many, many tools that national laboratories build, we don't keep them forever, right? I like to joke we send them to college. So what we do is oftentimes with our tools, with our services, et cetera, we build them, we stand them up, and then we go through a competitive process to transfer these tools to the private sector. So you may have heard of Solar App. That's a perfect example of one of the tools that our lab built and then transferred it out to the private sector. The Community Power Accelerator has done the same thing. So you hear me tripping over my past tense, right? That's because as of mid-March, all the code, all the data related to the Community Power Accelerator that we built at the lab was transferred by a copyright agreement to the Milken Institute and their Community Infrastructure Center. So I'm going to try my best to not say Community Power Accelerator anymore and to say CIC, which stands for Community Infrastructure Center. I do work at a government lab, so if I use some sort of acronym you don't know, please drop it in the Q&A, and I'm pretty sure Howard and Sushmita can solve the puzzle for you, but we do have a tendency to speak in acronyms. So the former Community Power Accelerator has moved to the Milken Institute's Community Infrastructure Center, or CIC. This image on this slide is just an image of that homepage. The QR code will take you to the CIC, specifically that portion of which is for the Community Power Accelerator. So it's the same, it just looks different, and it's wrapped into a new platform. The core functionality is still there. All of the existing profile and project data was sent over. It remains intact. The platform continues to be free for all users. The good news is that with our platform being integrated into the CIC, things have expanded, and I'm very excited about this expansion. So you notice that it's the Community Infrastructure Center. So infrastructure is a wider category than just power. So there's a broader network of users and project types. All of the capital provider type users that we had on our platform have gone over to the CIC, but they had their own capital providers and funders. So that network has grown. The whole thing is just sort of grown. So there's more opportunities to work on, to post different kinds of projects, to get more financing. And then there are more opportunities also to participate in finance forums and sort of deal focused convening. So it's better. It's more and it's better. And I'm very excited about that. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we also refer to these platforms often as a marketplace, by the way, right? Because it's projects finding capital, capital finding projects. Actually, could you go back one, Connor? Thanks. So all of the projects that we moved over to the CIC, they all have solar in some way, up to 5 megawatts. So these are distribution scale solar projects, but it's a wide variety of types. Could be community solar, could be commercial and industrial. We had the capacity for aggregations of smaller solar system size. So like an aggregation or portfolio of residential or multifamily. Microgrids, as long as they had solar generation, were fine. Any kind of virtual power plant, which is a lot of different things, right? So that could be solar with EV chargers, right? There's a lot of ways to make a virtual power plant. And then also storage was an option. So the solar project type was pretty varied, but there does need to be some solar generation part of the project and up to 5 megawatts. Every project also has to provide at least one of 5 meaningful benefits, which I'll get into in a sec. And most of you, I think, are going to have an easy time meeting those. But because everything is moved over to the CIC, like I said, infrastructure is a bigger category. It's beyond just strictly energy. So there are community and economic development projects, resilience projects, which in this case is not just energy resilience. It could be just like climate resilience, right? So like flooding and heat issues and things like that. Transportation projects, water projects, they have a focus on broadband and equity, and then also buildings and facilities. So, and I'll explain why I think this is important in the future, but just keep in mind, this is more than just solar projects on the CIC. Okay, next slide, please. I mentioned that every distributed solar project needs to have at least one of 5 meaningful benefits. So these are the meaningful benefits. So a project that expands solar access. So like if you're serving a community that's underserved, you're offering access to solar that they didn't have, some sort of consumer choice. It could be an affordability component. So like on-bill savings, it could be wealth building, it could be indirect savings, like often is the case in multifamily buildings. A reliability, resilience, and or security component. That could look like battery storage, but it could also look like, could you have a local project that increases grid reliability if the grid is stressed, right? So there's lots of different ways to do that. There could be a local economic development, are there project ownerships for community members or nonprofits, or are you working with local leaders to ensure that there's an economic development component? Or maybe you're engaging local entrepreneurs like yourselves, right? And then the other meaningful benefit is around building solar workforce and entrepreneurship. So my understanding is that a lot of you are doing that yourselves. So your projects would likely meet that meaningful benefit. Okay, next slide, please. Again, when we moved all the code and data over to the CIC, all of these wraparound services went with it. Okay, so you have the fundamental platform, which is the marketplace, right? It's that sort of dating app or LinkedIn. I'm a developer with a project. I need funding. I use this platform to find capital providers. I'm a capital provider interested in solar. I use this platform to find projects to like lend capital, invest capital, provide grant money to. With that, we also have the Accelerator Lab, which is a series of training and education offered through the University of New Hampshire. These are the ones that DOE, the U.S. Department of Energy, paid for, are all free. And there's a variety. So there's a simple Community Solar 101. It's self-paced. I know a number of the developers on our platform have used that as a staff training tool, and it's worked pretty well. You can also get access to longer 10-week instructor-led intensive courses. So when you are in the instructor-led course, you're in a cohort, and there can be a real advantage to being in a cohort, but it's sort of changing. So I don't want to guarantee that all three of these are available self-paced, but I know the goal is that ultimately all three will be. So those 3 10-week instructor-led intensive courses, there's one on community solar development. There's one on basically it's commercial and industrial system sizes, but it's called community benefiting commercial solar development. And then there's one on microgrid development. And like I said, we're always working to try to make those free of charge. Well, they're free of charge, but also self-paced. So, and Milken has their own training and education too. So again, our offerings have been strengthened, but our offerings will continue to be available. We also created a credit ready checklist, which has been integrated into the project process on the CIC. The way I think of this checklist is that if you are a developer, maybe you're doing a new project size you've never done before, or maybe you're seeking a new type of capital you've never sought before. That checklist supports you in getting ready to have conversations with capital providers. It's a way of helping you prep for those conversations so that you use the time effectively and you don't sort of lose your audience. Also, we offer free technical assistance, which will continue to be available. It's offered through our National Community Solar Partnership Plus program. And it's really, there's a wide variety of questions. So I know as a salesperson working with nonprofits, this would have been a real boon for me because I didn't necessarily have time to educate all my clients, and I could have worked with them to get a technical assistance request in, and we could have had somebody at a national lab help us, which would have been really nice. So those are all services and resources available through the CIC to help you with your distributed generation solar projects up to 5 megawatts AC. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so I mentioned that all of our data, all of our code, all of our data transferred over to Milken kind of mid-March. So this is a representation of what we sent over, right? So at the time we transferred the data, we had 270 developers. 99 of them were nonprofits or community-based organizations. So I want to be clear that when we say developer, we mean it's not just a strictly solar developer. It could be like a multifamily developer. It could be just a nonprofit doing solar. So it's a real mix of developers. So we had 270 of those. We had 130 capital providers, and we had projects seeking 892 million. But of all of our 130 capital providers, we had over 6 billion in funds available. So a very nice ratio of capital sought to funds available. Okay, next slide, please. And we're going to go through these really quickly because I saw your 5-minute warning, Connor. So these are maps, which I'm not going to spend a lot of time on, but you can see projects can come from all 50 states plus all the territories. And these indicators show you that our greatest number of capacity, our greatest capacity value actually is in Illinois. So a healthy number of projects and capacity. Okay, next slide, please. All right, so these are developers that were on the platform. Again, a healthy number in Illinois. Keep in mind, 25 of those 270 operated nationwide. So these numbers are state or regional. So they only work in that state or they work in sort of that region. Next slide, please. Similar view of capital providers. Again, of the 130, 60 operate nationally. So these numbers in the states represent the local, like, so they might be a green bank or they might be a CDFI that only operates in a state or region. Okay, next slide, please. I, unfortunately for time, I'm going to skip this, Connor. Go ahead to the next slide, please. I'll share that another way. So I'm going to go a little bit into the community infrastructure so you can see what it looks like and what's there. I think we got confused on our slides, but anyway, this is the URL. Go ahead to the next slide. Okay, this is the sign up process for a new user. So you can see there are fundamentally sort of two user types. One is provider or funder, and the other is project sponsor or developer. I want to point out that the project sponsor or developer is really about a person or an organization that has a project that they are kind of stewarding. However, as a solar developer, if you offer additional services, let's say, for example, sure, I'm a solar developer and I have a project for which I'm seeking capital, but I also would like to be able to offer O&M to another project, or maybe I see that there's a multifamily facility being built and I want to offer my EPC services. Then you would want to join as a provider so that you have the opportunity to both post your projects and be matched with other projects where you might be able to offer services. So that's a really important thing. That's why I think it's so important to note that there are other project types on this platform, because who knows, could be a business development opportunity for y'all. Okay, next slide. So this is what the dashboard looks like, right? So lots of opportunities here. So first of all, the ribbon, the suggested matches ribbon. So this is a provider dashboard. And what you see is Milken has both an algorithm, but also they have people behind the scenes working to create these matches for you. If you go to the projects tab up here, you can actually see all the projects that are on the platform. There's a filter feature by geography, by type, and other opportunities as well. So you really have an opportunity to kind of shop projects, which is exciting. Community is an opportunity to join channels. So like this user is in the community power channel. There are additional channels. There are working groups that you can be part of. And I think what's really great is they have something called deal rooms. So deal rooms are held 2 afternoons a week. Milken works with developers to prep their projects for deal rooms. They find potentially good matches for funders and invite them to the deal rooms. Both attend the deal rooms. And then if the funders are interested, Milken will provide an introduction so that the developer, kind of project sponsor, and the funder can get together and talk about funding for that project. So that is not something we were able to offer through the lab, and I'm super excited about it, and especially that it's twice a week. Okay, last slide. The next one's the last slide, Connor. So this is what a project page looks like. This is just a demo project. But again, right, you've got your navigation up here. But what I want to point out here is your ability to kind of use this as a project management tool if you like. So for example, this task tab is kind of like a chat. So you can chat with your team members. Details are details about the project. Files are project files that can be shared with your team members. Funding is where you can find like, who have I been matched with, or maybe there's a suggested match, that sort of thing. And then under more, There is also a feature called Feed. Feed is where you get access to what's happening in the various working groups or channels. And it's also where you can get access to those upcoming deal rooms and other events. So, for example, Milken holds basically a demo of the whole platform once a month, and you could attend one of those. Okay, and I think that's pretty much it. Connor, I think the next one is questions. So yes, again, this QR code is to the Community Infrastructure Center, specifically the Community Power Accelerator portion. That's my email, which Connor's also going to share with you. And then the next slide is a disclaimer, which I am legally required to include. Thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Great. Thanks so much, Ruby. And before we move on, I do want to note we will also be publishing the slide deck for public reference as well. So that's going to be available to attendees after the event.
Yeah. Okay. And also, if any of you have ongoing questions, we talk about this all the time. So this is like my job. So feel free to email me if you want to go through it again, whatever. I'm here. There's a whole team of us here helping out.
Great. Thanks so much, Ruby.
Thank you.
And on that point, keep the questions coming, keep posting them in the Q&A feature as we go through our halfway point now. So next, I'm going to hand it over to the Ameren, Illinois Market Development Initiative for their presentation. Next slide. And I'll hand it over to Keela.
Okay, thank you so much, Connor. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Keela Ward. I am a manager on our clean energy transition team at Ameren, Illinois, and I manage our market development initiative. So I do have some support on the line today from Theo and Darius Quarles of EcoHealth that will help me make sure that we keep an eye on the questions and any notes that we need to take. So happy to be here, and I want to talk to you about what we have to offer to support you from our market development initiative. Next slide, please. So most of you may know that Ameren, Illinois service, we say most of the state outside of the Chicago area. Most of our territory is most of the state south of I-80. So there are some municipalities in there and some co-ops in the area, but for the most part, we service that area, both electric and gas. The Market Development Initiative actually has been around since 2018 and started with our energy efficiency department. Some of you may be aware of our energy efficiency department. It has been around a while, a lot of great incentives, and the Market Development Initiative was formed to support the communities in our territories and making sure that they were able to participate in energy efficiency. So in 2024, we were approved for the Clean and Equitable Market Development Initiative. And what that did was enable us to expand not just not just to focus on energy efficiency, but to also focus on the rest of the clean energy transition. And I'll show in a future slide exactly what that entails. But the mission of the Market Development Initiative is not only to support our communities within our territory in this transition, we want to also focus on being equitable. So making sure that our underserved EIEC, low-income communities, have the opportunity to understand, one, what the transition is, two, how they benefit from it, how they get involved with it, and how to have the most effective results from the transition. Next slide, please. So the Market Development Initiative has three main goals. And the first goal is really access and education. We want to make sure that the customers in our communities, like I said, understand what it is, understand what programs are out there that can support them, both at a customer individual side, at a contractor side, and just overall community organizations, whatever is involved and want to be involved in the transition. Um, so two is we also want to make sure we support our vendors, our contractors. We want to make sure that we have um, a wide network of vendors and contractors that can be included, that can be productive and can be successful in this transition. And then thirdly, our workforce development. So we want to make sure that we participate in helping with training, helping make that connection between the workforce that want to be involved with the employers that may need the workforce to support them and make them successful, which will also make the overall community successful. So it's kind of one feeding off of the other, one supporting the other, and all three working together. Next slide, please. So I mentioned earlier our clean energy transition team. So our team is actually the umbrella of the clean energy team is under Crystal Sims, who is our vice president. And there are 5 business sectors under her umbrella, and that includes our grid management. So that deals a lot with the grid plan, which is what the market development initiative is included in and was approved by. We have strategies program and new technology, who director is Andy Parker. And let me back up. Steve Walter is the director of our grid management. And Andy Parker's team deal a lot with our DERs. They also pilots and programs that may have to do with some solar industry, some pilots and programs, looking at different ways that we can stay competitive and stay in the know for the clean energy transition. The third one is Deb Perry, manages our business strategy and development, and this is what our market development initiative falls under. And once again, because it covers all of the clean energy, not just energy efficiency. So that is why we found our home in that group. Thirdly, or fourthly, our energy efficiency team, which some of you may, as I said, be aware of, is being led by Patrick Justice. So we do have an energy efficiency. We have that market development still, and we have expanded it, as I said, to include the rest of clean energy. And when I say that, I think about renewables, as we are speaking of today with solar or any electrification, demand response. So anything that may fall under that category. And then lastly, we have Eric Whitfield, who is the director of our economic development team. So we work closely across all 5 sectors of our team for market development initiative to make sure that we are covering all areas needed and making sure that we do outreach for all areas so that the community can understand, where we're trying to go and what's needed. Next slide, please. So what are our offerings under the Market Development Initiative that will support you? So there are, as I said before, one of our goals is focusing on workforce development. So we have different offerings under that to help with if you as a contractor is looking for skilled employees, or if you have some individuals that you want to get additional skills or maybe certifications or whatever may be needed. Second, we have our grant writing support. So this is an opportunity that we have where we have grant writing workshops. Last year, I believe we had 2 in our service territory in person. This year, we're looking to have 2 to 4 again in-person grant writing workshops, and there will be one virtual. The plan is to have one virtual because we know everyone can't necessarily get to where we are, but we are trying to reach all areas of our territory. So what that is a free workshop for you to come and get information on grant writing. What does it mean? What does it take? What are some steps? What are some things to look for? What are things to make sure you have? included in your grant writing applications. But then not only that, but we also have a grant writing kind of concierge service that we can provide to you. So even if you can't make it to a workshop and you just need to have some one-on-one conversation with someone to get more information or support or direction, we also have that opportunity for you. And then we also have our inclusive vendor support. So what this is a couple of different programs that fall into this. So we do have an incubator and accelerator program for our contractors. For the incubator program, we do ask that you have been an established business for at least 1 year. And the accelerator program is more for businesses that have been established but may just want some additional support to move forward and to elevate their business. And then we also have our contractor access to capital that is very new to our program. We're really excited about that. We had a pilot in 2025, actually just ending here at the end of March of 26. And I'll go more into what that entails. And that kind of goes back to one of the earlier presenters that mentioned that we have heard that that is a barrier for some of our contractors is having that upfront capital and having to float that capital from beginning a project until the project ends and they are able to get payment. So we have established this program to helpfully give some assistance in that area. So next slide, please. Okay, so going back to workforce development, and I mentioned this, we have different offerings under this umbrella. So when you look at this, I mentioned job training. In the past, we've had a lot of training as far as energy efficiency, BPI training with weatherization and things like that. We are looking to expand that and to partner with other training organizations within our territory. We do have some relationships with the CEJJF hubs and job training, and we're looking to expand that to include solar industry and support training in that. With that training, we also are looking to do the job placement where either we are helping make that connection between individuals that receive training that want to get into the field with employers that are also looking to hire those. So we've also heard there may be some mismatch where, in some areas there be maybe more trainees ready for job placement and the employers are not there, whereas it could be vice versa where we have employers looking for trainees and are job seekers and they're not there. So we're trying to get in a position where we can help match those opportunities together. We have a scholarship program, which this is if you have anyone that may be, that may work for you, maybe in an organization that is going to school or going to trade. We do have scholarship programs to support anyone interested in training or in a degree, whether it is community college, four-year university, or trade school program. We are now looking at even expanding into some high school trade programs where we can give some scholarships and support students that are looking to continue their education and get into the clean energy transition. Now, this is our summer internship. So every year we have an internship co-op that starts usually around the end of May, 1st of June, and goes into August. And what this is, it's a little different. So we don't take applications for job seekers looking to be an intern. We take applications from employers like you and contractors like you that may be interested in having an intern work for you for the summer, get that on the job training. We will pay for that intern for the full summer to work with you. We are right now taking applications for the 2026 summer, and actually tomorrow is the deadline. But if anyone's interested, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'll be happy to get that information to you. But yeah, so we will pay for them to work with you. get that experience with you, and hopefully at the end, it will be an opportunity for that person to get full-time employment, part-time employment, or if they have to go back to school, to keep that relationship with you. And then lastly, we also offer the wraparound services. Sorry, I see the typo on there, but not WARP, but wraparound services. And that's to support also anyone that's really interested in getting into this area, into this field. They may need additional support with transportation or daycare or just family care or whatever it may be. MDI is here to remove barriers for individuals to help them be successful in whatever way we can. Next slide, please. So going back to our vendor support that I touched on a little bit earlier, and this is how we can support many of you that's on the call. So I mentioned our Ally Incubator and Accelerator. We will have another incubator and accelerator later this year. It would be more in the fall that we will begin taking applications for that. So once again, if you are interested, let me know and I can make sure you get the information when it is available later this year. We also have a procurement advancement and transformation hub. And what this is part of a database that we have. And we want to be really intentional of supporting and being inclusive in our support of our vendors and contractors in our service territory. So this isn't even just for clean energy contractors and vendors. This is for anyone that may want to have a relationship with Ameren, Illinois. So what this database is we keep businesses in there that we may need to use, whether it is a catering service or an event planner, wherever it may be. And we have access to this database. All of our partners have access to this database. So this is just a way for us to make sure that we are being inclusive of vendors and contractors in our territory with any services that we may need. And then going back to our contractor access to capital. So with the cohort, what the main idea of this program, let me start there, is to help contractors get access to capital from lending partners, whether traditional, non-traditional, it varies. And the end result is to, once again, make that match, help them get, whether it's the application, whether it's just getting that connection, whatever it may be, to help them get that access to capital to be able to complete projects, be able to get more projects, grow their business. Got you, Connor. Grow their business, whatever is needed to be successful in this industry. Next slide, please. Okay, so putting it all together now. So as I said, the MDI is here to support qualified candidates, job seekers. We're here to support you as contractors and vendors. We are here to support our overall communities. So looking at kind of the arrows at the bottom of this slide, it shows how everything works together, from internships to scholarships and training for our job seekers, to the grant supporting, the incubator, the CAC, and the path for you. Next slide. And that is it. So I think I'm right on time, Connor, but my information is on this slide. As Connor said, he will email out my information. So if anyone has any questions or want additional information, feel free to contact me. Thank you. Have a good afternoon.
Great. Thanks so much, Keela. And to allow enough time for our very last presentation of today, we are unfortunately going to have to cut the Q&A session for today. So with that, highly encourage the attendees to drop questions in the Q&A feature, which we'll attend to from our presenters throughout these last 20 minutes of today's webinar, but we'll also be able to address those in our publication of the Q&A as well after the webinar. So please do use that feature for the last 20 minutes. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Van to round us off. Next slide, please.
It's the dynamic duo, Connor. We've got Van and Rebecca, and Rebecca is going to
Yeah, great.
start this off for us today.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for your time, and we will do our best to move quickly but thoroughly through these. So maybe we have time for one or two questions, Connor. My name is Rebecca Sanders. I'm the Executive Director of the Clean Energy Jobs and Justice Fund. We're Illinois' nonprofit green bank. If we want to go to the next slide. We are a community-informed green bank. I'll tell you a little bit more about what a green bank is in a moment, but I think we want to stop here on the community-informed piece first. So we were created through the Climate and Equitable Jobs Act in 2021, but we've really been up and running only for about a year. And we are fully a nonprofit, but we are this community-informed nonprofit. So we really spend time to speak with contractors, with partners, with community leaders and community organizations to understand what gaps are for you all in the market so that we can design financial tools, financial products, and technical assistance that fits your needs. So our goal is to build CEJJF or the fund with you, not for you. So your voice is really important in what we do. Our goal here is to foster economic growth for frontline communities. So when we think about all the programs we've been discussing today and over the last several years about CEJA, workforce training, aggressive renewable portfolio standards for the state of Illinois, CEJF is really here to be the engine that makes sure that we're getting capital to the communities that need it most so that the transition is equitable, so that your businesses and your communities really benefit in this transition. So we support clean energy workforce development, and we offer low and no interest loans and grants along with technical assistance. And we're just getting some of those programs up and running now. So we'll tell you today about our first ones. Next slide, please. Just a really quick stop here on our board of directors. This is the slide that we always add into our presentation so that the folks that we're talking to can see that we have a really representative board of the geography of Illinois. While our staff is really committed to hearing your voice, our board is as well. And so we want you to know that we have representatives from Chicago all the way down to Carbondale, East St. Louis, and Central Illinois in between. Next slide. And just a moment on our values. Again, because we're a community-informed bank, I think this is important for us to share. The board really spent a lot of time in thinking through how they wanted to create and lead this green bank. And so being centered in equity first, equity and justice, and community rooted is really important. But I think also if you look towards the end, they're courageously bold. So again, we want to hear from you as we're designing our work and our products so that we can step forward and try some things that have never been tried before in financing. How do we like to say that there's a lot of perceived risk in the market, and we are here to step into those places that others may feel that are very risky and in that way demystify that risk. Actually say some of these things are not as risky as may have been perceived in the past, in particular in serving frontline communities. Next slide. So what is a green bank? We are not an organization that you're going to take your paycheck to at the end of the day and check it or deposit it. We are a mission-driven organization. We offer financing tools to make clean energy accessible to everybody. And so we really are serving residents, business owners, contractors and developers, and municipalities. And it is created with private and public funds. So we receive $1 million a year through CEJA for basic operations. And then we also partner with philanthropy and investors to bring money into the fund so that we can get that money out to you. And again, because we're not for profit, we are here to accept higher risks, and we're less focused on returns. So we're not here to make money. We're here to make sure that you're able to make money, pay us back, and then we can invest and support other businesses or your future work. Next slide. And here, just a quick stop again. Our goal is to ensure that everyone in the state of Illinois benefits for clean energy transition. The legislation that enabled the creation of CEJJF within CEJA is very focused on serving frontline communities and minority business enterprises and women enterprises. So again, we are the bank that is here for you. I like to call us the People's Bank. We are here to think about how you can get your business up and running and how you can help it grow. Next slide. So how do we do this? How do we think about an equitable transition? If you were to read our enabling legislation, you would see 9 different things that we're supposed to do, but we really think about it in 3 ways. The first is getting capital to you and your businesses so that you can grow those businesses. So getting capital to the places that it often doesn't flow, where people feel and face barriers to traditional financing. The second is to really advance affordability around energy costs. So to partner with homeowners and small businesses and the businesses that serve them for energy efficiency upgrades, enabling upgrades, rooftop or mounted solar to help them bring their energy bills down in an affordable and accessible way. And we really think about this and how we can do that both with financial products and with maximizing the amazing incentives that we have here in Illinois. And then the last is facilitating frontline communities access to clean energy solutions. So this is our partnership with municipalities right now. Van is in Carbondale, that's where he lives, and we have a partnership with the city of Carbondale where we're helping them to think through what community solar, municipal solar would look like for them. What does net zero affordable housing look like? How do we start to develop and adopt plans that are ready to go, right? Ready to be implemented once there's financing. And then how do we work with residents? So a holistic approach to municipalities' sustainability objectives. And next slide. So what is our work? What do we do? So we leverage capital, right? So we bring in, we have our own capital, limited amount of capital, and then we work with private institutions to get them to feel comfortable. We de-risk their capital coming in to invest in your projects and your businesses. We partner with you all as contractors to make sure that what we're developing is aligned with what you need. We have a couple of tools to do that. Right now, we have spots on our board for contractors. We're also creating a contractor advisory council and some regular calls for contractors on a monthly basis to come together for us to have conversations about what you see is missing in the market and how we can support you. We are a statewide organization. We are mandated to report on how we are delivering capital across the state. So we cannot just stay in northeastern Illinois. We are very focused, and our board will hold us accountable to this. You can trust me on that, and getting capital throughout the state. And then we are really committed to transparency. It's important for us to be able to report out on what we're doing, where we're doing it, and with whom. So, so that if there are questions or concerns, you're able to see that data up front, and you're able to come to us and access me and my team at any time that you need us. Next slide, please. So we have 3 offerings or 3 ways that we work. First is a residential product that's actually called Fair Path. It's slipped over here under commercial. This is a new energy efficiency loan that we are launching this month. It's for energy efficiency. It is for solar, for enabling upgrades. It's based on ability to pay, so it is not based on credit scores. And it's meant to maximize Illinois incentives. And we'll talk about a tool that helps contractors do that in partnership with residents in a moment. We are also launching our first commercial products, which are bridge loans. For any of you that have worked with the DCEO, Equitable Energy Futures, or the Community Solar Energy Sovereignty Grants, we will be offering some bridge loans to that funding. Once you are awarded that funding, it often takes a while for it to be fully processed by DCEO. We will actually provide loans that are relatively low interest. They are below market, and will fill that gap while you're waiting to receive your funding from DCO. So we're piloting that this spring. And then we have technical assistance that we offer. Thanks, Connor. Next slide. So I think Van's going to talk quickly about FairPath. And Van, if you maybe want to take 2 or 3 minutes on the next couple slides, then we can wrap up.
Sounds good. Guys, Rebecca, thank you so much. I appreciate that high level overview of what we actually do. I think most of the contractors really appreciate that. Guys, family, I want to talk to you about our FairPath Home Energy Savings Loan. It gives us an opportunity to go back and get all of those residential clients that you potentially had to say no to. We know that it's very expensive to be poor. Most folks wind up having to pay more in interest rates. It almost seems like the banking system is completely backwards. If my credit score is low, then I pay a higher percentage rate. It doesn't seem right. But these rates are between 8.5% and 9.5%, which is low, which is fair market value. The repayment schedule is around 3 to 7 years, and the amounts can go from $3,000 to $50,000, which is absolutely amazing when you think about the opportunities that you have. Can I have the next slide, please, Connor? I want to help you all visualize a contractor named Marcus. Marcus is just like you. He's a contractor who's operating in HVAC and solar and electrical. He covers the gamut of the jobs that are out there. And all of us are looking for customers. Marcus is good at his job, and every time he shows up, he gives a great bid. He talks to his client in a way that's respectful, and he doesn't lose a deal because he didn't frame out the work that needs to be done. He normally loses a deal because of financing. Next slide, please. This is your reason, this is the basis why we want you to become approved vendors, because you can go back and get all of those people that you ever had to say no to and give them an opportunity to actually get financing that is not based on their credit score or the FICO score, but on your ability to pay. And what I really like about this financing tool is that it's not only good for the residential side, but it's also good as an optional line of credit for you as contractors. You get a chance to cover at least 30% of the total job costs, say up to $50,000 if you had multiple projects going on. We were talking with one contractor just a while ago, and that we had some conversations with the team back itself that had given us some information that allowed this contractor to be able to potentially operate on 5 different job locations and simultaneously be able to acquire that 30% up to $50,000. Next slide, please. Contractor onboarding requirements, they're easy. If you're doing business the right way, and then you're already set up for this opportunity, you have to provide your provide your business registration, your EIN number, general liability, all the regular licenses that you normally use to operate doing business every day. We just want to get you into a point where we have you into the system, get you onboarded. The process only takes between 10 to 15 minutes to once you have all of these, once you have all of your required documentation together, we can get you onboarded and get you uploaded into the system and start you down your pathway of becoming an approved vendor. Much like you go through the process to be listed as an eligible equitable contractor, we also know that this designation gives you an opportunity to gain some credibility and have an opportunity to serve a community that is ready for you to service them. We've got Marcus all lined up. This is the contractor we've got in our head. He's filled out the paperwork. He uploads his documents. He has quick orientation. Now he's in the system. Now he's ready for the deal. Next slide, please. Now, this next slide, please, because we just covered what Marcus is getting ready to do. He has put himself in position to take advantage of an opportunity to be onboarded with FairPath. Now that he is on with FairPath, he can go back to his client. He can talk to them, and instead of financing being a barrier, you go from a maybe to how do we get started? And that brings up our Canopy Climate tool. This is the difference between a financing tool and being a planning tool. Before the conversation even gets started, this helps us get the customer prepared. I can't believe that sometimes that we find opportunities with our clients that they don't even know that they had. This tool helps unpack those. You get a chance to look at what upgrades make sense, what incentives stack, and what the project could actually look like. This is a good place for me to pass this back to Rebecca because she's really passionate about Canopy. I know it was fun when you went through and you put your address in and was looking at how to organize it and use it.
Thanks, Van. That was great. I'll say 1 minute about this and pass it back to you, Connor. So we are, this is a tool that will allow that we are customizing, so it will capture all Illinois-based incentives that have income eligibility requirements, that have geographic requirements, that a contractor or a customer or you working together could go in into the system and identify ways that you can maximize how people can use those incentives for energy efficiency upgrades and solar. And it also has a list. If somebody wants a heat pump water heater, we will have a list of eligible vendors in there for a resident to reach out and contact. So it's a way for you to also, by becoming part of the CEJJF contractor network, for you to actually market yourself as well. So we'll leave it there. It is such a pleasure, and we are really honored to be with you today. Thank you for spending your time and for the great work that you're all doing. And thank you for having us, IPA and Connor.
Great. Thank you
Right.
so much, all. And we do need to cut that Q&A session at the very end, but it looks like there is one open question I do want to pose to the CEJJF team is this opportunity for CEJJF mostly for residential projects?
So this particular product is the FairPath product is for residential products. But if you're thinking about your work, go ahead and reach out to me and Van. And like I said, we are in the midst of project design and raising capital to roll into products. So we're happy to hear what you need and then think about how we can start to design work that will meet your needs.
We
Great.
definitely want to let everybody, all our contractors know that we need their stories. Part of what we do is that we capture the projects that you have and make sure that we are getting out here and get it in front of public and private partnership opportunities. So Connor, thank you again for the opportunity. We definitely have a lot of great work that we can continue to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could go to the very last slide here. So thanks all so much to our presenters for today and of all of our attendees for attending. We hope you found these presentations helpful for your participation in Illinois Shines. So as I mentioned, you will receive a follow-up email after the webinar from myself, which will include the email addresses of all of today's presenters. Also in that email and on this slide is a survey on your experience for attending today. Please take 2 minutes to complete this survey. Your feedback is really helpful for us in providing similar offerings in the future. You'd also find more resources and information about the Illinois Shines program on the Illinois Shines website, which includes a page on upcoming webinars and events. There is where we will be publishing the recording from today, as well as the slide deck. And I also want to highlight our the Illinois Power Agency's Small and Emerging Business Hub as well, where you'll find additional resources that should be relevant to you. You should expect to receive a follow-up email from me by the end of the day. Please respond to that email if you have any questions you weren't able to ask during today's webinar, and I can share them with the presenters. Again, we look forward to your feedback, and please also don't hesitate to reach out if you have any questions throughout your participation in Illinois Shines. And again, thanks all again for your attendance, and thank you to all of our presenters today.